Hey, happy Friday, leaders. Welcome to the 3 to Grow video to accompany the email. Hope you've had a great week. I sort of commandeered, took over someone else's office, so hopefully they're not going to walk in while I get this done. Sorry if you can hear some of the noise from stuff going on down on the floor, but that's just the way it is. So hey, as a reminder, 3 to Grow, take a couple minutes every week, read this, listen to this, watch this, however you take this content, and hopefully it will help you grow as a leader and a person. So just a couple ideas that I want to share with you this week. The first one is this idea of being just like everybody else. You know, very rarely does anyone ever say, you know what, I hope my life turns out like everybody else's life, or I hope my kids turn out like everyone else's kids, or boy, I hope my marriage turns out like, I want my marriage to be just like everybody else's marriage. That doesn't happen. You don't want anything related to you to be just like everyone else. I think the same is true for a company's culture. No one ever says, I hope the place I work is just like every other place I've worked. We don't want that, right? We want having a culture that stands out above the rest. Takes work, it takes effort, it takes a ton of intentionality. We have to pay attention to it every day. We have to recognize the values we want and pay attention to them every day. Because if we don't pay attention to them every day, it will naturally just start to drift. It will naturally just start to go back to the way it was. Here's the big idea. Think about this. The path to mediocrity, let me say the word right, the path to mediocrity begins with complacency. It begins with complacency. It begins with just not paying attention enough. Right? I don't want to be mediocre. I certainly think you don't want to be mediocre. I certainly don't want any company I'm involved with to be mediocre. And on my watch, I'm not going to let that culture slip. I'm not going to allow us to slip back to old habits, back to old way of doing things. I'm not going to let it happen on my watch. Will you join me making sure it doesn't happen on your watch either? Here's the other idea I want to share with you. I don't know if you've ever had the fortunate ability to be on the Autobahn in Germany. I never have. But the Autobahn's a federal highway in Germany where there are sections where there are no speed limits. Yep, you can drive as fast as you want in certain areas. Now, I know for a lot of you Michigan drivers, you just think that's like that all the time and you don't understand why other people don't. But that's neither here nor there. Doesn't it feel like, though, sometimes you work for a company that is on the Autobahn, that they're running 100 miles an hour or more in one direction, and there's just no speed limit. There's no slowing down ever. I certainly think sometimes it does feel like that, and I think it's a byproduct of being extremely passionate about winning, which I think is great. But here's something I want you to think about. Even the Autobahn in Germany has guardrails. Right? You may be able to drive as fast as you want, but you have to stay on the road. So regardless of how heavy your foot is, there are boundaries you just can't cross. And if you do, you will hurt yourself, you'll hurt the people that are with you, and you will damage your vehicle. I think the same is true in business. Go as fast as you want, go as fast as you can go to make things work. And go faster than everyone else if you want. But you understand that speed can't be compromised by our boundaries, by whatever the core values are you've set, whatever we've set inside the organization. That speed is slowed down, and major damage can happen if we try to avoid or crash through the guardrails. And you've seen it in the organization. You've seen someone slam into a core value and the damage it does to the team. As a leader, you have to keep driving the organization forward as fast as you can safely. But more importantly, don't lose sight of the guardrails. Don't be so focused on speed that you end up hurting yourself, your team, or the company. Okay, quote of the week. Everyone appreciates vulnerability in someone else. Everyone appreciates vulnerability in someone else. Actually, my quote. We all love vulnerability as long as it's not us. The challenge is sometimes as leaders, we need to be vulnerable as well. Leaders, you guys make a difference every day in your organization and what you do. That difference can be for good or for bad. The choice is yours. But thank you for all you do for the organization. Remember, think differently, lead courageously, live passionately, and have a great weekend.